Hi guys, I'm Julia Henze, founder of Brave Brush Studio, an online art studio and a club for artists and urban sketchers. Welcome to my channel. Here I am today with another video designed to help you bring your sketching technique to the next level. Today's video is a practical exercise, so get your paints and paper ready and let's start experimenting. I'm going to show you how to make your paints lighter and darker. You will learn one technique for watercolors and two different techniques for gouache. But before we dive in, I just want to remind you about the value of experimenting and playing with your paints without worrying about the result. It's really important to observe how your paints and paper interact, what works and what doesn't, and how changing the amount of water or paint or using different kind of paper affects the resulting color. Okay, ready? Let's go! But don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Before moving on, we will start with watercolors. Okay, so first I draw a frame for our chart, our color chart, and divide it into several parts. And in the middle will be our hue, the pure color from the palette. Okay, and here we will have the lighter part, and on this side we will darken the colors. Okay, so let's take a look. First, I put some color on the palette, and I take blue because it's a darker color and it's very suitable for showing something like this. And this is a very good exercise for if you want to learn how to control your paint and water. And for that, I would suggest making the chart larger, so that you have more sections for lighten and for darken colors and practice even more this way. But now let's start with a very simple chart with just a few sections on one and on the other side. So to lighten up your colors, you actually just need to add water to your paint. Very, very simple. So watercolor is water and color. And by adding more water, you make your colors lighter. So we can apply it here and you can see it's a lighter color. If we want to make it even lighter, we just add even more water. Like this. And if we want to make it even lighter, we add even more water, of course. So the more water, the lighter the color. And I think that's very obvious. However, sometimes I see people struggling with it. So when you want to use very bright, very saturated colors in your paintings, in your sketches, don't use too much water. Because water makes your colors look very transparent and a little bit pale. What works great for backgrounds, for example. And if you use the contrast of saturated and not saturated colors, then you create very beautiful sketches. But if you use too much water for the whole sketch, then your sketch might become a little bit boring. Okay, so now let's try to make our hue, our blue color, darker. And how to do that? You would say we just need to add some black to it. But I wouldn't recommend using black in your paintings because black makes your sketches, your paintings, very dull. And this is not what we want to have in our sketches. We want to make them bright and interesting. So don't mix your colors with black. Instead, you can use, for example, this beautiful color, and it's Payne's Gray, and it makes your sketches look really great. Let's try to mix these colors. So I add Payne's Gray to my blue, and I darken it by mixing them together. You can see that this is a very beautiful blue color, a bit darker than this one. And if we add even more Payne's Gray, then the color becomes even darker. Okay, and the last one will be with even more Payne's Gray, and it's the darkest color. I think the next step will be pure Payne's Gray. And as you can see, I use not that much water as I did here. So I try to use more pigment and just enough water for paint to flow. But let's try to make this color diluted like this. So this is also possible, of course. Just add more water, and this color will also be lighter, much lighter. It's the same color as this one, but very diluted. So this is how watercolor works. Now let's try to lighten and to darken the gouache. And there are actually two different ways to lighten up gouache. The first one is the same as watercolors. I will show it to you very quickly, and I want to use the same color, the same blue color, so it will be very clear. The same ultramarine blue, and I will do it in a very, very quick way, but so that you understand that this is also a possibility. So let's make another chart, and here will be our colors. And this is the hue, the main color. The main color is the same ultramarine blue as we used for watercolor. Okay. You can see that gouache color is much brighter. The same ultramarine blue appears much brighter than the watercolor version because there is more pigment in it and it is less transparent. Okay, so to lighten it up, we just add water to the color. So it works pretty much the same actually exactly the same as watercolors. And the same for darkening. We add darker color, and I don't have, unfortunately, I don't have any color like pale gray on my palette. I only have black on it, and somehow it works a little bit better for gouache, probably because it's thicker. So, but it doesn't make the watercolor colors that dull as the watercolor do. So I put some color on my palette. So I make a mixture of black and blue, and you can see that it works exactly the same as with watercolors. And you can see that the result is pretty much the same, even with a black color instead of paint gray. Okay, but for lightening up gouache, we also have another technique. Let's take a look. So the hue is the same. Let's put it here again. Okay, so this is the hue. And to lighten it up, I use white color. And as you can see, I have two whites on my palette. The one is permanent white, this is this one, and this is zinc white. And I am going to use a zinc white, and I will show you why a little bit later. So I add white to my blue color, and you can see that we get a very beautiful blue color. We need a bit darker one, like this, or maybe something in between. And then lighter. And quite important thing is that gouache dries lighter. So if you think, oh, this color is quite dark, it will probably get a lighter later when it dries. Okay. So let's make it even lighter. Like this. So you can see that this is a different way to lighten up gouache. And you can choose what you prefer. If you like transparent colors, also with gouache we can use transparent paint, then you choose for this technique. But if you prefer to work in layers, for example, especially for layers, it's important to use this technique. And let me show you why I wouldn't recommend to use this color, this permanent white, for lightening up your gouache. Let me put it here on the palette, and now I use white, permanent white here. And you can see now that the color is not that beautiful as this one. So the mixture is a kind of baby blue instead of beautiful, beautiful light blue color. So this is why if you prefer pastel colors in your sketches, that's absolutely okay. Of course, that could be your style. But if you like to work with more natural colors, then I would suggest using zinc white instead of permanent white. Okay? So that's all for this exercise. Okay, that's it for the exercise. Did you have fun experimenting? Let me know in the comments below. Which technique do you prefer? What works better for you, gouache or watercolors? If you want to do more experiments, go to my blog and find the post called Watercolor Tips for Beginners, Diamond Experiments. Or follow the link in the description section under this video. Timing is often a major factor that determines the success or failure of your watercolor sketch. So much can go wrong here. Adding the next layer too quickly or too slowly might lead to unintended results. Colors may run and mix with each other, not blend very well, or simply not turn out the way you want them to. This experiment will help you have better control of your watercolors. I will put other resources in the description for you to explore, so make sure to check them out. I'm actually really proud to have created a blog and YouTube channel that address the most frequent questions you might have. I'm really motivated by your feedback and your comments. If you've got a question that you want me to answer, put it in the comments too. And just a reminder that the best way to learn from me is in Brush Studio. It's a membership type club for artists that will help you make room in your life for your art hobby. Surround yourself with like-minded people and equip you with tools to create beautiful artwork and develop your unique style. Go to bravebrushes.com to learn more and sign up. That's all for me today. Happy sketching and see you in the next video.